Okay, so here we are at Sheargold Pianos, and I'd like to thank Melanie for coming along to answer some questions and start our first blog. Melanie is a local piano teacher and musician, and she's here to answer a few questions, and here we go. So, how long have you been playing the piano?
Well, I've been playing since I was 10, which is quite old, really, an old age to start playing a keyboard instrument. Lots of people start very young, but I started at 10. I don't come from a musical family or anything, so that's the reason I had a later start. But it doesn't matter if you start later. You can still go on and be a professional, and you can still achieve a lot, even starting at that age.
So did you choose the piano, or did someone say you should play the piano?
No, I chose the piano.
Yeah?
I loved it. I wanted to play. I kept asking to play, actually.
So what inspired you? What made you want to play the piano and learn the piano?
Well, my mother played as a child, and we were always friendly with her piano teacher throughout Mum's life, really. And we used to go and visit this piano teacher, and I used to just sit there at her old pub piano, very old, antiquated looking thing, and I used to just sit there thinking, wow, all those black and white notes. I'd really love to learn to be able to play them. So that was the catalyst, I think, really.
Okay. So it's quite interesting. So what sort of music do you play, and where have you played?
Well, it's basically classical music, although I have done other lighter types of styles as well, I suppose you say. I used to do a cabaret programme with a band as well, but basically classical. And I've played lots of places, all over the place, really. I used to do a lot of classical recitals on cruise ships. I did that for a long time. But I've played in most of the venues in London, Wigmore Hall and Purcell Room, and places in Stratford-upon-Avon. I played at Shakespeare Theatre there as well. I'm just thinking of more unusual venues, but most of the major venues, Birmingham as well, the CBSO Hall.
Fantastic, brilliant. And how long have you been teaching piano?
Oh, since I was 15, very young.
Wow,
I know,
so
very
5
young.
years in and straight onto it.
Yes, I used to teach for my piano teacher. I used to dep for her quite a bit and teach some of the smaller children. So I've taught piano for a long time. Yes.
Brilliant. And what do you enjoy most about it?
About teaching, I think it's the element of coaching, element of helping people to achieve their potential, really. I mean, everyone's got a different potential in playing the piano. Some people, as you know, I'm sure, are far more gifted at it than others, and so you in a sense, you can only go so far with some people, but still to see them play it as an end result, that's really good. It's really exciting, I think.
And what do you think is a good age to start learning?
I don't think you should start too young. I mean, I say this in my book, I say don't really start at 4 or 5. Those that do come from a musical family, generally, because their parents are able to help them, they're able to coach them, sit with them when they practice. But I always say a little bit older, maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was 7.
Yeah, that's the perfect age, I think.
I also struggle as well, if you can't read or write, it's going to be quite hard to learn.
That's right.
It's almost like learning another language, isn't it?
It is, totally.
So at 4 or 5, if you can't hold a decent conversation, how are you going to learn an instrument?
Absolutely, yes. And people don't think of this, I think, when they put their children to lessons, that they can't, as you say, they can't read, they can't count, they can't decipher the alphabet. It's going to be very difficult to multitask.
Yeah.
It's a huge multitasking exercise, isn't it? It's a lot to ask a small child. So I think a bit older, actually.
Are you ever too old to learn?
No, I don't think you are. No. I don't have that many older pupils, but I do have one who's about 75, I would imagine, and they're getting on very well. So
yeah, we had a chap, I think he was about 80, 82, and he said, I've always wanted to learn the piano. He said, I can't take it with me, so I'm going to give it a go. And he's still going strong, and he really enjoys it. Yeah,
enjoyment's the key, I think, especially for older.
And how often do you think you should practice? Does it vary depending on the age?
It varies depending on the level, I think. I mean, if you're a beginner, maybe 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. But I think the key is to make or encourage people to practice every day rather than do lots of practice.
Yeah.
Because if you leave it towards the end and panic towards the lesson, you can't really do that much in that time. Even if you spend an hour, you're far better to doing little and often, I think. So
it goes in better as well.
It goes in better.
You absorb it more.
Depends on your ability. If you're a fast learner, you may be able to get away with practicing less than others, you know.
I was terrible. I remember I used to play the clarinet at school, and we'd be booked in for an exam, and I'd never do any work at all, which is terrible. But it wasn't until sort of the week before the exam I got my scale book out, and I thought, right, here we go, I better learn all these, and I was terrible.
And you managed to do it in a week?
I just about got through it.
That's quite good.
But I never learnt the actual. I never learnt the notes. I just learnt the way it felt to move around to do the scales. It was very strange, but it worked for me. But that's not to say that everyone else should do it.
Adding in quickly, yes.
Yeah. So, about your playing, what's your favourite piece to play or type of piece to play, and why?
I like romantic music. I like Liszt very much. It's one of my favourites. I love Liszt, and I also love Bartók. A lot of the contemporary, more contemporary. Bartók's not contemporary, of course, but I love contemporary music as well. I love Philip Glass, minimalist music. I could listen to that forever. And I love Rachmaninoff. Who doesn't love Rachmaninoff? And Beethoven, of course. He's probably the kind of, I suppose, the composer I enjoy playing the most. Beethoven. Yeah. But Beethoven and Liszt, yeah.
So here's your favourite to play. What about to listen to?
To listen to.
Is it different or is it?
Yes, I like symphonic music. I like Sibelius very much. Beethoven to listen to. Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky. Love the Tchaikovsky symphonies. All different styles, really. Yeah, it's quite hard to pinpoint because when you start thinking of one, you think, oh no, and I like that. Oh, I like that.
And what would be your number one tip for anyone struggling with a particular piece?
It's all how you practice it. And I find it's much better to break it up in sections. Just very small sections, one bar at a time, hands separately, especially for difficult areas. People say slow practice. Slow practice can help, but it's more useful to practice things using unusual rhythms or in different ways. Maybe if you've got coordination problems, thinking about it in a slightly different way really helps. And I think the more you get away from playing things straight through and breaking things up in sections, I think that's really good. That's the way forward.
So of course this leads us on to your book.
Yes, that's right.
Tell us about the book, why you wrote it, and
I wrote it. It's called So You Want to Play the Piano, and just in case you can't see it, and I wrote it because I wanted to give something to guide people who have never ever played in their life before. People that decide they want to take up the piano, whatever age, it's for children or adults, and they think, what's the first thing to do? And this is the kind of book that tells you exactly how to go from the beginning. So it tells you what kind of pianos to look for, and of course mentions Sheargold as well, and it looks at all the different things you need to consider in a good teacher, because we both know that there are a lot of fantastic teachers, but there are a lot of less good teachers as well, and you really need to know how to look for a good teacher to help you on your way, and that's inspire you. It's so important. So I've got a couple of chapters on that, and it looks at what kind of piano books are suitable. It looks at basic technical things like posture and hand positions to start with. I know I should sit up straight now. And it looks at the value of exams, what happens in exams. It looks at basic practice, festivals, all sorts of things that you're going to need to consider as you start to play. And the benefits of music as well, looks at that. So I thought I'd just sit down one day and write from my experience, really. That's what I did. I never stopped, yes.
Brilliant. Well, the book's available in the shop, so you can pop in and have a look and pick up a copy. And once again, I'd like to say thanks for coming along.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's been lovely.
And doing the video.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.